Hello, class. My name is Javier. I'm going to be talking about the Taino Nation of the Caribbean Sea, and I called it the Taino Nation because they were a population of millions that inhabited the Caribbean islands before the Spanish colonization. Um, I actually descend from the Taino myself, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about, my people and their origin story. And so, yeah, let's begin. So before the Spanish colonization of the Caribbean islands, there were the Tainos, the Caribs, and the Arawaks that lived amongst all of the islands in the Caribbean. They actually originated from South America, from the Amazon forest, and from the Orinoco basins. Um, yeah, so that's actually kind of like the historical overview of the tribe. And the origin story was actually just released by the Florida Museum 2 days ago. So it's actually great because I actually didn't know my origin story and now I do. So let me share that with you guys. So I'm actually going to go back to the beginning because it starts with these four brothers. So there was a celestial realm and it was filled with gardens and there were supreme beings and there were these four brothers, and one looked different, and his name was Deminon. He's represented here on the left. He had little welts and scars and little boils, and he just looked different than the other three. And there was another god called the Supreme Spirit Yaya. And when the Supreme Spirit Yaya left his house and went into the garden, these four brothers actually went into his house. And what happened was they saw a giant gourd and they actually broke it onto the ground, and that actually created a deluge, a huge deluge, which created the four seas. So what happened was these four seas actually created the world that we live in today. And there were fish, and then there was little islands that popped up, and then little caves. And the four brothers were actually lost in this deluge stilge. And the three that looked the same kind of found each other, and they found this elder, Bayamanakoa, I'm sorry, excuse me. And Bayamanakoa was this older guy, and he actually the fourth brother actually saw the three brothers talking to this elder and go into the elder's house, so he followed them in. And so Deminon followed the three brothers into Bayamanakoa's house, and Bayamanakoa revealed to them that he was their grandfather, and that their mother was actually the mother goddess. So Bayamanakoa actually then gave them a special cassava bread, and he revealed their lineage to them. And so he basically told them that he basically told them that they were all descended from the mother earth goddess. But then he turned on Deminon and he spit tobacco spittle on his back. That caused a huge welt on his back, and then from that welt he actually split it open and a turtle came out, and that turtle was said to be released into the water and swim gracefully between the sea and the land. And what that came to represent to the Deminon, which was different, was that he was the Caracol, which means the connection between the spiritual realm and the earthly realm. So he's basically the bridge between the spirit world and our world. And so then from this deluge and this new world, this came to be the world of humans. So that's kind of the origin story that was presented by the Florida Museum. And it's a little bit differently than the historical overview and the migration theory, because migration theory comes from DNA testing, whereas historical overview comes from what we know about the people from history, or from kind of the winner's perspective, so to speak. So in this case, it's mostly the white man's perspective of what happened to the Taino. According to them, they were completely extinct. Now, from DNA testing, we're starting to find out that there's still mitochondrial DNA genetic markers within most Puerto Ricans today. So what happened was more of a mixing rather than an extinction of sorts. And so this differentiates a little bit between like historical overview, migration theories, and origin stories, because to the Native American, their origin story is completely different than the European origin story, or their migration story. To them, they've lived in these islands forever, and you know who's to say that they came from the South America? According to us, that's science that's telling us, but according to them, they may have always been there. So, the more we learn, the more we're able to differentiate between migration theory, historical overview, and origin stories. Thank you so much. I hope to hear from you guys. Thanks.